Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another live stream watch along on the Dibbly-Dobbly podcast. It's BBL 12, and it's match number 21 of the BBL season. It's the Melbourne Renegades up against the Sydney Sixers from Kardina Park, and it's sure to be an exciting game of BBL tonight. And these two teams will be looking to get a win and get some more points in this year's BBL competition as they look to cement their place in the finals as we get towards the end of the BBL season. So the Renegades would like to bounce back after losing to the Sydney Sixers in the last game they played by 34 runs. That was the SCG recently, and they lost that game by 34 runs. The Sydney Sixers made 8 for 149. The Renegades were bowled out for 115. So the Melbourne Renegades would like to bounce back here at home and to get their revenge on the last game against the Sydney Sixers. But the Sydney Sixers have done well, and they're starting to get back into this BBL season. They started slowly, but a few wins on the board for them. They've certainly making their way up on the BBL ladder, and they'll be hoping to continue that charge. So the news from the toss is that the Melbourne Renegades have won the toss. They've chosen to bat first, looking to put runs on the board. And their 11 for tonight's game is Madison, Guptill, Sean Marsh, Finch, Wells, Hanscom, Hussain, Sutherland, Rogers, Kane Richardson, and Rahman. And for the Sydney Sixers, their 11 for tonight's game is Philippi, Patterson, Vince, Enriques, Silk, Christian, Kerr, Dorcius, Jordan, Bird, and Naveen. So a pretty strong Sydney Sixers side tonight. So the Renegades won the toss. They chose to bat first, looking to put runs on the board, and hopefully for them, bat a little bit better than they did in the last game, getting all out for 115 against the Sydney Sixers in the last game that these two teams played in this BBL season, which was at the SCG a few days ago, and where the Sydney Sixers won by 34 runs, and the Melbourne Renegades did not bat well in that game, all out for 115. So they would like to bounce back tonight, winning the toss, batting first, hoping to put good runs on the board, and hoping they can get the job done. But a nice evening in Geelong, and the Melbourne Renegades openers walking out to the middle, looking to get some runs on the board and looking to get the team into a pretty good position in this match with the batting first. For the Sydney Sixers, they'll be hoping to bowl well, defend well, and make sure we can keep the Melbourne Renegades to a score that they can chase down in the second innings. Nick Matson, Martin Guptill out there in the middle for the Melbourne Renegades. And they'll be opening the batting. And the Sydney Sixers making their way out to the field. They're bowling first, and they'll be hoping for some early wickets. But the sun's shining. Good crowd in Geelong tonight for this match number 21 of this BBL between the Renegades and the Sixers from Geelong. And a lot of people, if you're not familiar with the venue, Kardina Park, it's in Geelong, which is in Victoria, and we had a few of the T20 World Cup matches played here, and that was back during the T20 World Cup a few months ago for the qualifiers, and the qualifiers were played here in Geelong, so it is not renowned as a cricket venue. It's more of an AFL football ground, but they're trying their hand at cricket. So it's a nice venue, and the Melbourne Renegades, it's their home ground for this BBL season. And they're up against the Sydney Sixers tonight. They'll be hoping to bounce back after what was a disappointing last game for them against the Sixers when they played at the SCG. So both teams are out on the field. We're moments away to get underway with the first ball of this BBL match tonight. The Renegades and the Sixers from Geelong. And we're not far away from the first ball being bowled. It's been quite an interesting BBL season thus far. And the ladder taking shape, many teams moving up and down on the BBL ladder as we speak. So many teams will be hoping to get some wins on the board, get some points, and push their case for the finals as we approach towards the back end of this BBL tournament. So it's going to be Ben Dorshus. He bowled well in the last game against the Renegades, took 4 wickets, and he'll be bowling the first over of this match, and he'll be bowling, I believe, to Martin Guptill, one of New Zealand's finest limited overs players. And he's having a go in the Big Bash for the first time this evening. So he'll be on strike to Dorshus. This one on his pads, and Guptill works it onto the leg side for a single. He's off the mark, and so are the Renegades. Good start for them. Good to get the first runs on the board. And Nick Mattinson, the captain, on strike now. Reasonable BBL career. And he'll be hoping to put in a good performance tonight with the bat. Hoping him and Guptill can get a partnership going and get the Renegades off to a good start. They didn't bat well in the last game. Got bowled out for 115 when they were in the run chase against the Sixers up there in Sydney. So Dorshus in to Madison, and this one beats him. Past his outside edge, straight through to the keeper for a dot ball. Good delivery from Dorshus. Asking some questions early of Nick Mattinson here. Good delivery. That one just straightening down the line and squared up Nick Mattinson past the outside edge. So encouraging signs for Dorshus. A bit of swing, as you would get with this new ball. Got to use it wisely. He's in again, Dorshus to Mattinson. He bowls, and this one beats him again. Mattinson tried to drive this through the leg side. Wasn't able to do it. Playing a miss. Straight through to the keeper. Another dot ball. Good again from Dorshus. And, yeah, just past the outside edge for Nick Mattinson's bat. And he wasn't able to get that on ball there, but another good delivery from Dorshus. He's hoping for an opportunity to get a wicket here. He's in again, Dorshus to Mattinson. He bowls, and again past his outside edge, playing a miss. That one was a short of length delivery. Dorshus encouraged by this swing. And again, Nick Mattinson playing a miss again, past his outside edge. Another dot ball, 3 dot balls in a row. Good start from the Sixers. They'll be hoping to get a wicket here. Nick Mattinson feeling the pressure. 3 dot balls in a T20 match. You would like to get bat on ball and get some runs as Dorshus bowls again to Mattinson. This one, Mattinson was able to get a bit of bat on that. He works it to mid-wicket for a dot ball. So 4 dot balls in a row from Dorshus. It's been a good start from the Sixers. The Renegades just looking to get into their work, looking to get used to the conditions and see what the pitch is like. It looks a pretty good surface. Dorshus out to bowl his final ball of the first over to Mattinson. He bowls. This one past the outside edge again. Playing a miss from Mattinson. It's a dot ball to end the over. It's the end of the over. It's none for one. Good start from the Sixers. Brilliant over there from Ben Dorshus. He got a few plays and misses past the outside edge from Nick Mattinson. Encouraged by that last over. Good bowling. Some swing. And I think both teams will be quite content with how they've started in this match after the first over. And the Renegades, they would like to bat better than they did in the last game against the Sixers, which was a few nights ago up there in Sydney. Got out for 115, and they'll be hoping to put that right with a better batting performance here. It's going to be Jackson Bird. Very good bowler. Played Test cricket for Australia, of course, and did pretty well in his short Test career. He's done pretty well for the Sydney Sixers over the journey in the BBL. He's going to bowl the second over to Gupta. He's on strike. He's on one. Bird in. Bowls. And this one outside edge and dropped. Dropped by Philippi. The opportunity was there. Gupta went for the drive. Build up a pressure. Outside edge and Philippi's put him down. Opportunity goes begging for the Sixers. Can't be doing that. Good delivery from Bird first up. Gupta looking to drive through the covers, got the outside edge, and Philippi in the first slip. Tried to go for the catch. Unfortunately for Philippi, he was there, put it down. That's not what the Sixers needed. But Gupta gets away with it. Jackson Bird in again to Mattinson. He bowls, and this one pulled from Mattinson high into the air onto the leg side. Fielder underneath it and takes the catch at deep square leg. That is the first wicket down. And the Renegades have lost the skipper in Nick Mattinson. He's gone for a duck, build up a pressure. He was looking to score, build up a pressure. He played a rash shot, hit it straight up in the air, and the deep square leg fielder took the catch comfortably in the end. And that is the end of Nick Mattinson. He has gone for a duck, the captain of the Renegades. And very good catch by the fielder there. Just got his hands underneath it. First wicket down for the Renegades. And the Sydney Sixers will be delighted with that after the missed opportunity from Bird after the first ball. Mattinson gone for a duck. It's 1 for 2. And Shaun Marsh, the seasoned veteran, will make his way out to the middle. Shaun Marsh, they're a good player, as we know. He's played for Australian Test cricket over the years, and now he's playing in the Big Bash for the Renegades. Hello, Raj. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. Vrash, you say, thanks for joining us, first of all. You say more crowds in BBL this season than previous seasons. Yeah, the crowds, to be honest, are pretty much the same, I think. But you'll get some people watching some BBL games, of course. And good to see a nice crowd in tonight, and good to see people enjoying the festive and New Year period. And good to see many people out here watching the great game of cricket. As Shaun Marsh is on strike to Bird. Bird bowls to Marsh. This is on his hip. And he works it to square leg for a single. Not Mitchell Marsh. That's his brother. Shaun Marsh is off the mark. And the Renegades move on to their third run of this innings. Rush says, great commentary. Thank you, Rush. I appreciate that. I try my best. Thanks for joining us. Raj says, I'm well. How are the holidays going? Pretty good, Raj. Yes, it was a pretty good Christmas holiday period for me. So good to take a break and recharge the batteries as Bird bowls to Gupta. This one outside off stump, and Gupta leaves it straight through to the keeper for a no run. 2 balls left remaining of the second over. Renegades 1 for 3. Bird got the first wicket. He created an opportunity. First ball to Gupta, outside edge, and unfortunately Josh Philippi dropped the catch. But then he got the wicket of Nick Mattinson soon after. So the Sixers will be delighted with the first breakthrough. Bird in to Gupta. And this one, Gupta defends behind square on the offside, down to third man, backward point for a single. He moves on to 3. Marsh on 1. 1 ball left of the second over of this power play. Raj says, I thought I would see you again next year, but here we are. Yeah, Raj, well, I just thought, well, why not? Covered the BBL game tonight, the Renegades and the Sixers. Why not? We've got a few days before the third test match with Australia and South Africa. Bird in. This one down the leg side, and Marsh helps it around the corner behind square on the leg side for a single. That's the end of the over. It's 1 for 5 after 2. Good start from the Sixers. Got the early wickets, and the Renegades looking to consolidate, looking to rebuild a partnership if required. That will be the plan. Need a score that is going to be competitive tonight, the Renegades. The last game, they got bowled out for 115. That was in a run chase. Raj says, it's the New Year's test on the 2nd or the 3rd. It's on the 4th this year, Raj. It's on January the 4th. So that's the next test with Australia and South Africa. And speaking about that, Ashton Agar and Matthew Renshaw have been added to the test squad for the 3rd test. Potential replacements for Green and Stark as Dawshes continues to Marsh, who defends this back down the pitch for no run. And the Sydney test, always a good test. New Year test, celebrate the new year. Pink test, of course. So that will be an exciting test match nonetheless. And Australia will be looking to wrap up the series 3-0. It was a convincing, dominant performance in the 2nd test in Melbourne. South Africa will not be happy about their performance as Dawshes bowls to Marsh, squares him up, outside edge, down to 3rd man for a single. Marsh moves on to 2. Hello, John. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining us for some BBL action tonight. Raj says a spinner replacement for fast bowler. Interesting. Raj, well, Ashton Agar has been called up because he's an all-rounder, you would say. So if the pitch in Sydney is going to turn as Dawshes bowls to Gupta, this one traps him on the pads and it's a dot ball. If Australia want to play 2 spinners, they'll go with Agar to replace Green, and then you've got either Hazelwood or Lance Morris to replace Stark. So they could go down that route, or they go with an extra batter and pick Renshaw, and then they can go either way there. So that's more for Cameron Green, Raj, not so much for Stark. It's either Lance Morris or Josh Hazelwood for Stark as Dawshes comes into Gupta. This one wraps Gupta on the gloves, bounced more than he expected. In the end, it's a dot ball. Good bowling from Dawshes, building pressure nicely. And that's what you need to do in a T20 match, build pressure, dot balls. We saw with Nick Manson, he was tied down. A few dot balls. He was looking to play the big shot, and he hit it straight up in the air and got caught at deep square leg. We'll get to your comment in a minute, Raj, as Dawshes bowls to Gupta. This one, Gupta works onto the leg side for a quick single. Marsh makes it. It was nearly a run-out opportunity there, but Marsh made it home safely. That's good proactive batting from the Renegades. Look to get off strike, look to rotate the strike. Raj, you say, are they not picking 2 spinners, not when Marnus and Smith are in the team? Well, I don't think we need to pick 2 spinners. If they want 2 spinners, they'll pick Agar to replace Green at number 6, or he bats at number 7 and Carey moves up to number 6 as Dawshes bowls to Marsh. This one beats Marsh, passes outside edge, straight through the keeper, no run. And that's the end of the over. It's the end of the 3rd over. It's a good start from the Renegades and the Sixers, 1 for 7 after 3. 1 over left of the power play. In the Big Bash, it's 4 overs, and then you can use the power surge for 2 overs later on. So just going back on that, Raj, if they want to pick 2 spinners, they'll go with Agar to partner line to replace Green, and then you can either pick Hazelwood or Morris or whatever for Stark. Yeah, we always talk about that every time we go to the SCG, either pick 2 spinners or not. It's a bit drier this season at the SCG on the pitch, so they may toil with the idea of playing 2 spinners, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. As Bird continues to Gupta bowls, this one full, and Gupta defends it to backward point for a dot ball. So it'll be interesting to see what selections they've made. Agar and Renshaw, I think many people were probably not surprised by that or surprised by those replacements. But they've played Test cricket before, so if given the opportunity, no doubt they'll do well. John says, I think Josh needs a gallop at this point. Well, he does. He hasn't played much Test cricket. As Bird bowls to Gupta. This one, Gupta pushes this or bunts it down the ground for a couple of runs. It was sort of a flat pull shot down the ground, really. Sort of It was really a pull shot, and he sort of played it straight back down the ground instead of square of the wicket, Guptill. And he got a couple of runs for that, so it's productive. 1 for 9 now for the Renegades. With Josh Hazlewood, you would think if he's fit, you would think he'll get the nod over Morris, probably, given that Josh is the incumbent and the most experienced player, of course. But it'd be interesting. A lot of people want Morris, but there's some talk about him. Could be a surprise. There's Bird bowls to Guptill. This one's on his hip, down the leg side, and Guptill works it behind square. On the leg side for a single. He moves on to 7, and he's asking the 12th man to bring out a replacement bat. I think the handle must have broke off or something. Something wrong there. The handle must be a bit loose. He called for a replacement. But Josh Hazlewood, he'll be looking for selection for the next test, of course. If he's fit, if he's 100%, then he plays over Morris, in my opinion, as Bird bowls to Marsh. This one pass the outside edge of Marsh's bat straight through the keeper for no run. Thinking about playing that delivery, Marsh, but he decided not to. He let it go to the keeper for a dot ball. Raj says, I've never seen Agar as an all-rounder. That would be interesting. Well, he does bat. He does bowl a bit. Left arm spin. He does bat. But it'd be interesting to see what they do there, Australia, as Bird continues to Marsh. He bowls this one short of length, and Marsh hits it straight to the fielder at mid-on for a dot ball. Yes, Raj, I did hear about that. Terrible news about Rishabh Pant. He was involved in a car accident. Let's hope he's okay and he's on the mend. Yes, I heard that news just before, actually. Terrible news. Let's hope he's okay. So Bird bowls to Marsh. This one flicked by Marsh to the square leg boundary for 4. And that's his first boundary, Marsh, to end the 4th over in the power play. End of the over, it's 1-14. So the Melbourne Renegades probably not happy with their power play after 4 overs. And in the Big Bash, the power play is 4 overs, not 6. Raj says, hoping for his quick recovery. Yes, let's hope he recovers quickly. Raj says, handy like Stark. He can definitely bat. He got 90 odd on Test debut Ashton Agar against England at Trent Bridge. He got 90. Oh, I forgot what it was now, but it was, I think it was 98, I think he got on Test debut. So he's handy. Hasn't played Test cricket for a while, not since 2017. That was against Bangladesh when Australia toured there. So if given the opportunity, he will do okay and do his best. As Hayden Kerr, change of bowler, Dorsh's out of the attack. Hayden Kerr is going to bowl to Guptill. Left arm. Quick. He bowls to Guptill. This one, Guptill works it to the square leg fielder for a single. And the Renegades ticking along slightly. 1:15 into the 5th over. Raj says that would be really important for Australia to come to India. Well, yes. Well, maybe Australia could try, Agar to replace Green and try the 2 spinners and see how that combination would go. Kerr to Marsh, he bowls, and then Marsh defends this to the fielder at mid-wicket for a dot ball. Now, will be interesting. But Australia's already won the series, haven't they? So they can try Lance Morris for a debut, see how he goes. There's been a lot of talk about him. Or they go with Ashton Agar to replace Green, and then they go with Hazlewood if he's fit and able to get through this test match. As Kerr bowls to Marsh, and Marsh works it behind square on the offside to deep backward point for a single. So very tight bowling from the Sixers here. The Renegades not really going at full throttle, but they're just being watchful. They don't want to lose any more wickets, and Guptill and Marsh looking to build a handy partnership. So Kerr to Guptill, bowls. This one short, wide outside off stump, and Guptill drives through the offside to deep cover for a single. John says, how long will Green be out? Haven't heard. I think he's out for 6 weeks, Cameron Green. He needs an operation on that finger. It's not as bad as Mitchell Stark's injury, for example. So he'll have surgery on that. He'll be back in 6 weeks, apparently. Mitchell Stark's a little bit longer. There's curve bowls to Marsh. This one full, and Marsh drives straight to the fielder at mid-off for a dot ball. Good fielding there by Moses Enriques, Sydney Sixers captain. So 6 weeks for Green. Mitchell Stark's a bit longer in terms of recovery. Mitchell Stark has a little bit of a broken finger. Trying to think of the word, the fracture. That's it. So Mitchell Stark did have a fracture to his finger, only a little fracture. I don't think it requires surgery. It may. I'm not sure about that. As Kerr bowls to Marsh, and Marsh glides this down to third man for a single. That's the end of the over. It's 1 for 18 after 5. So their recovery times will be varied, but Cameron Green, John, he'll be back before Mitchell Stark. So it's not good to pick up injuries, but that happened. Can't control that. That's out of your control as a player, especially if you're a batter and get one on the gloves, as Cameron Green did to Norkia. He was bowling pretty rapid pace. Of course, that's going to cause a fracture or a broken finger or something. And Mitchell Stark, he was just going for a catch, and the ball hit him on the wrong side of his finger, so which happens. But let's hope they come back and recover quickly as Australia look to get ready for the tour of India next year. As Bird bowls to Marsh, this one. Oh, now then, they come through for a single. I think Mitchell Marsh got a bit of bat on this. I think Philippi put down another catch again. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, came off the glove. Just fell short of Philippi. Maybe carried to him. Definitely came off the glove there. Marsh was looking to pull out of that, but he couldn't do it in time. Couldn't get his gloves out of the way of the path of the ball. Got a bit of glove on it. Fell just short of Philippi. May have carried, but they come through for a single. Bird bowls to Guptill. This one down the leg side. Guptill works it behind square on the leg side, and he'll pick up a single. Renegades 1 for 20. Raj says, no, they don't need 3 seamers and 2 spinners. They can keep Green and pick 2 spinners. Yes, they can. Looking forward ahead to the India series. They can definitely do that. As Bird bowls to Marsh, this one pulled away by Marsh through the leg side for 4 runs. That's a boundary for for Shaun Marsh. That's his second boundary of this innings thus far. Bit of a short delivery there from Bird, just set up, and Marsh was able to pull that in front of square on the leg side down to deep square leg boundary for 4, and a much needed boundary for the Renegades. So looking to up the ante and to get some runs here as Bird bowls to Marsh. Marsh glides this down to third man for a single. John says, unfortunately, that they'll both miss the India tour. I think bowling would be handy and getting a lot of work if picked. I don't think they'll miss the tour, John. Cameron Green won't. I think they're confident that he'll recover, and his recovery is a lot simpler than Mitchell Stark's recovery. Mitchell Stark is probably the one that his involvement in the India tour at the start of the tour is uncertain, but he's definitely available for the back end of the tour, I think. Bird bowls to Guptill, and this one's a dot ball. They were looking for a single, but they decided not to risk it. So Cameron Green would definitely be targeting that India tour, and same with Mitchell Starc, of course. Cameron Green would definitely be fit. They're confident from what I've been reading and hearing. Mitchell Starc, he's a bit optimistic as bird bowls to Guptill. This one full, and Guptill drives this or flashes this one to the fielder at deep cover for a single. It's the end of the over. It's 1 for 26 after 6. For the Renegades, going along nicely. Going okay. So just going back on that, Mitchell Starc's involvement for the India tour, not certain for the start of the tour, but he could come back for the later part of the tour. And Cameron Green could be ready to go for the first test or the second test, whatever. Not ideal, but that happens when you pick up injuries. So part of the game as Chris Jordan comes into the attack, international. Raj says, I'm going to reveal something big. I think, I secretly think it will be a close series and Australia might do really well this time in India. PS might draw or even win the series. It's going to be an interesting series, that's for sure. As Jordan bowls to Guptill, this one full, and Guptill digs it out for a dot ball. Chris Jordan, England international player, of course. Contributed to England's T20 World Cup success a couple of months ago, playing for the Sydney Sixers, and it's his first game of the tournament tonight. No doubt it's going to be a close series, that's for sure. It's definitely a big series with Australia and India. You say, Raj, if they come with a good leg spinner or left arm spinner, that is. Yes, as Jordan bowls to Guptill. Guptill hits his straight back up, or straight back down the ground, I should say. It was high in the air, hit it straight back down the ground for a couple of runs, didn't quite time it. And he moves on to 12. Nearly a wicket opportunity there for Chris Jordan. Guptill, he went for the straight, the lofted drive, straight back down the ground. Was in the air for a while, but the fielders could not get underneath it to take the catch. It felt safe, and they picked up a couple. So Martin Guptill looking to branch out, looking to be aggressive here as Jordan bowls to Guptill. This one down the leg side of Guptill, works it down, straight down the fielder's throat at fine leg. And that is the end of Martin Guptill. He's gone. And the Renegades have lost their second. They're 2 for 28. And Martin Guptill looking to, well, in the end, really, he was looking to work that over the fielder's head at deep backward square leg. And unfortunately could not get enough on it. And hit it straight to the fielder. And picked him out. So Martin Guptill's got to go for 12. It's 2 for 28 for the Renegades. As Guptill and Marsh were looking to build a partnership, unfortunately, Guptill has now lost his wicket. So Renegades again will have to rebuild. Stop-start of momentum. The Sydney Sixers will be pleased with how the start of this match has turned out for them. 2 for 28 inside the first few overs of this match. It's a pretty good result. So that will bring Aaron Finch to the crease, Australian T20 skipper. And he's had an okay BBL. He's performed okay. Aaron Finch, so he's at the crease. Faces Jordan, this one full, and Finch defends this straight to mid-off for a dot ball. Good evening, Chris K. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. Some BBL action, of course. It's the Renegades and the Sixers from Kardina Park, which is in Geelong. And good start for the Sydney Sixers. The Renegades got some work to do in the first few overs here. As Jordan bowls to Finch, this one down the leg side, traps him on the pads, trickles out to square leg, potentially for a leg bye. There was an appeal, half appeal from Jordan for LBW, but it was going down the leg side. And they'll scamper through for a single. In fact, Aaron Finch got a bit of bat on that, so if they did go upstairs for the LBW, it wouldn't have been not out because he had a bit of bat on it. So Finch is off the mark. John says Indian tour is right on that 5 to 6 week period away for the first test. It is. I believe the first test is in February, sometime in February. It'd be interesting to see how Green and Stark pull up for that. But, you know, you got to be confident and you got to be optimistic that you can get back. As Jordan bowls to Marsh, he works this out to deep point for a single, and that's the end of the other. It's 2 for 30 after 7. Sydney Sixers will be delighted with their progress in the first 7 overs. The Renegades haven't really gotten away. And the Sydney Sixers will be delighted with their work at the moment. Raj says, with Pout out, they just need someone to keep Aya and Ashwin quiet. Everyone else is out of form or injured. Yes, to say Raj, it's again going to be a second or third string Indian team against Australia. John says, yep. 9 to 13 February. Yes, that's the first test. Well, it's a 4-test series, so if they're not available for the first couple, then they can certainly be available for the next 2 test matches, the 3rd and 4th test. Cameron Green's more his recovery time is better than Mitchell Stark's, and Mitchell Stark has said that his recovery time is going to take a little bit longer. But even with Stark potentially not available for the first 2 tests, we've got other bowlers who can do the job. So that's the good thing about the Australian bowling attack. The depth that's coming through is good. Naveed, the spinner, into the attack. He bowls to Marsh, and Marsh glides us down to third man for a couple. Naveed, the spinner, into the attack. And very good start here from the Sixers, looking to take more wickets and looking to put more pressure. A slip in now to the spinner Naveed. He bowls to Marsh. This one is whipped by Marsh outside off stump through square leg. Sorry, through mid wicket, I should say, for a single. That brings Aaron Finch on strike. John says, good to see a 4-test series. Would prefer 5, but you can't always get what you want. Well, John, it's going to be 5 test matches from now on with India and Australia. They've agreed, both boards, to say, you know what, we'll have a 5-test series after this series. So, which is good. As Naveed bowls to Finch, this one's a play and a miss. Passes the outside edge, straight through the keeper for a dot ball. So after this series, John, you'll get your wish. Australia and India will play 5 test matches after this series. From this series onwards, after this series, there'll be 5 test matches between the 2 countries. Naveed into Finch. This one, Finch works it outside off stump through the leg side for a single. He moves on to 2. The Renegades will be hoping to get a partnership here, get back on track. 2 for 34. It's an okay start, but they would like a lot more runs and probably less wickets. Probably no wickets lost at this stage. But Naveed to Marsh. This one short outside off stump. And he gets it away to the backward point boundary for 4 runs. Good shot from Marsh. Got back into the crease. Gave himself room to access the offside, and he cut that nicely to backward point for a boundary. Naveed just strained on his length and line there, and good shot from Shaun Marsh. Always a good player, Shaun Marsh. Elegant player on the eye. As Naveed bowls to Marsh, And Marsh works this through mid-wicket for a single to end the 8th over. It's the end of the 8th over. It's 2 for 39. It's a good over there from the Renegades. Looking to get some momentum back into this innings after the loss of a couple of wickets. Raj says they have been talks about 5 tests after this series. Yes, Raj, and it is confirmed that they will play 5 tests in the Border-Gavaskar Trophy. I believe they've already played 5 test matches before Australia and India back in the day. I think back in the 90s they did that when the Border-Gavaskar Trophy was first contested. I think that series was 5 test matches. And ever since then, I think they've always stuck to 4. So now they're back to 5, which is pretty good. As Dawshes bowls to Marsh, squares him up. And it's a top ball in the end. Ben Dawshes, he started well, none for 3 from his 2.1 overs. He's bowled pretty well. Raj says the next Australian leg will be a 5 test, just like the Ashes, I think. Yes, they will be. John says, terrific. 8 even-numbered series. Dawshes into Marsh. Bowls, and Marsh works it behind square on the leg side. Down to the fine leg boundary. Good effort there from the fielder down there. Jackson Bird cuts it off and may need a check to see if he touched the rope as he touched the ball. So we need to see if that's a boundary or not. I think he did an okay job. Inside edge there from Marsh. He was trying to work it through the leg side, and then it went behind square down the fine leg with the inside edge there. That's pretty good from Bird. Touches the ball, releases it before he touches the boundary. So I think he's done okay there. I think he saved 4 runs. Pretty good. In the end, they only took 2 runs. So he saved 2 runs. Pretty good from Bird. Dawshes into Marsh. This one full, and Marsh hacks it. Didn't quite connect that well, but he hits it straight to mid-on for a single. Raj says, yes, we have. We drew 2-2 in 71, and I think that was one of the great years of Indian cricket. We won in the West Indies with Gavaskar's debut, won in England, and drew 2-2 in 5 matches. Yep. They were a pretty good series for India. As Dawshes will now bowl to Finch. He bowls, and this one's short. And Finch bunts it onto the offside for a quick single. He moves on to 3. John says Australia and India and the Ashes are the 2 premium test series in world test cricket. Yes, they are. It's certainly a couple of series that you really want to watch and be involved in as a player. And as to the England-India series as well as 5 test matches as well, and that's a pretty big series. As Dawshes bowls to Marsh. That one full and driven by Marsh to the fielder at backward point for a single. 1 ball left of the 9th. We're nearly halfway of the Melbourne Renegades' first innings. 2 for 43. Dawshes. Pretty good start from his first 3 overs. None for 7. It's been pretty good. He's bowled pretty well. Last ball, bowls to Marsh. This one short. Marsh pulls this delivery to the fielder at mid-wicket for a single to end the over. It's the end of the over. It's 2 for 44 after 9. Start by the Renegades. And the Sixers will be delighted with how they bowled here. They would like to pick up a few more wickets and really push the Renegades back as Naveed, the spinner, continues. Raj says India, England is pretty close to these as well. Raj, yes, to say the Ashes is also good, only in England. It is competitive in Australia. They always win. Yes, it's a bit different in Australia, of course. Pretty much one-sided over the recent years. But As Naveed continues to Marsh. This is high in the air, top edge, high in the air. No one's underneath it. It will fall safe. Sean Marsh tried to go for the slog sweep. Didn't quite connect it. Got a top edge and it went straight back down the ground, high in the air. And the fielders at mid-on and mid-off could not get around that to catch it. It feels safe. And they picked up a couple of runs. Naveed in. This one short outside off stump to Marsh, and Marsh hits it straight to the fielder at point. A backward point for no run. Yeah, Mitchell Marsh. Sorry, not Mitchell Marsh. Sean Marsh. Trying to go for a big shot, and he didn't quite time it, but he got away with it. Naveed in to Marsh, and this one, he executes this one better, Marsh. That's more like it. And he dispatches this over the square leg boundary for 6 runs. Bit short there from Naveed. And the short square boundaries here in Geelong, you can't stray off your length as a spinner here. If you bowl it a bit short, you are going to get the treatment. Marsh was able to hit that in front of square on the leg side over the square leg boundary for 6. And that was a pretty good shot. Naveed into Marsh. He goes again, Marsh. This one high in the air and taken. Taken by Chris Jordan at long on. And Mitchell Marsh, not Mitchell Marsh, Sean Marsh goes for 35. And he played played a big shot, one too many. He was looking to go big again, Marsh, and this time right on the bottom of the bat. Didn't time it. Chris Jordan ran from the long on boundary to take that catch, and it was a pretty good catch. He's a pretty good fielder, Chris Jordan. Took it easily in the end. They're never easy, but it looked easy. And Sean Marsh, he's got to go. The Renegades keep losing wickets at the wrong time. Marsh going for 35. It's 3 for 52. And Jono Wells will come to the middle and join Aaron Finch, a partnership required for the Renegades. And they're not in a good position, nearly halfway through the innings, 3 for 52. They would like to be a few wickets down and have a few more runs on the board, but that hasn't panned out the way it has. Raj says, only when they complain about the pitches, we then know that we got them and love reeling in it. Narinja, hello, hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. Naveen bowls to Wells, and Wells works it to the offside, to backward point for a dot ball. So Naveed, the spinner, got a wicket there. The Sixers keep picking up wickets. The Renegades keep losing wickets at the wrong time, which is not ideal. Naveed into Wells. This one's short, and Wells pulls this through mid-wicket, and it's racing away to the boundary. Won't quite get there. Good fielding from Chris Jordan. Cuts it off for a couple. Cuts it off for a single in the end. It's the end of the over. It's 3 for 53 after 10. It's going to be drinks. Renegades are 3 for 53 after 10. Drinks. And they'll be looking to talk about what they do next for the next 10 overs. But it's been a pretty good start from the Sixers. Renegades just losing wickets at the wrong time. They need partnership, need to rebuild. So they'll think about that over the drinks break. Raj, you say Indian batters, ex-players, analysts have never complained about unfair pitches. We tear apart our batters when they fail instead of complaining about the pitches. So it's always funny when we get the complaints. We laugh it off. So drinks here. Between the Renegades and the Sixers, 3 for 53 for the Renegades after 10 overs. It's been a pretty good start for the Sydney Sixers. They'll be delighted with how they've started. The Renegades will be disappointed. Losing wickets at the wrong time and just stopping their momentum ever so slightly. And they will hope to rectify that. And get a good total on the board here. So that's probably going to be the plan for the Renegades in these next 10 overs. Build a partnership, and let's try and get to a total that we can defend. 3 for 53 at the moment is not where they want to be after 10 overs. They would like to be a few wickets, probably 1 or 2 wickets down, probably over 100 runs by now. But the Sixers have bowled really well. Good lines and lengths. They've taken wickets. They've built pressure nicely. So it'll be interesting to see how we go in the next 10 overs to end this innings. Raj says, I personally love it when we beat Australia, as it is more competitive than England and then Pakistan, but it is different for majority. It is Pakistan, Australia, England since the 90s. So it's going to be Wells on strike, first over after drinks. And he's going to be facing Hayden Kerr. He's just bowled the 1 over, none for 4 from his first over, so pretty economical from Kerr. Pretty good start for him with the ball, as he's going to get ready to bowl his second over to Wells. He bowls this one full, and Wells drives it straight to the fielder at mid-off for a quick single. And he gets up the other end, and it's going to be Aaron Finch on strike. He's on 3. Australian captain, of course, on the T20 side, recently retired from ODIs. Aaron Finch, hoping to stay around the Australian team for a few more games or a year or so. As Kerr bowls to Finch, this one full, and Kerr hits it straight back to Hayden Kerr, the bowler. Bit of a fumble from Kerr there. It trickles out to mid-off for a single. Aaron Finch was able to get the single on the ricochet in the misfield from Hayden Kerr there. He moves on to 4. John says the India-Pakistan rivalry is a little deeper than just cricket. Kerr bowls to Wells. This one full, and Wells digs it out, defends it. Straight back to Kerr for a dot ball. Yes, it's always an exciting rivalry between India and Pakistan, especially in World Cups and T20 World Cups. Unfortunately, we don't see them play test cricket anymore. But when they used to, those rivalries were pretty exciting. Kerr bowls to Wells again. This one full, and Wells defends on the front foot for no run. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Bit of BBL action. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but here on the podcast, covering some BBL. It's the Renegades and the Sixers from Kardina Park, which is in Victoria, which is in Geelong. As Kerr bowls to Wells, and Wells was able to deflect this behind square on the offside to backward point for a single. He moves on to 3. Finch is on 4. Last ball, the 11th. A lot of people saying that the Renegades should be able to win this game. Other people are saying the Sydney Sixers. Well, the Melbourne Renegades have improved compared to last season. They've won 3 games. They're not on the bottom of the table, which is good for their point of view. As Kerr bowls to Finch, this one full, and Finch drives straight back past Kerr down the ground. The fielder at mid-off will cut it off for a couple to end the over. It's the end of the over. It's 3:58 after 11. And Renegades, pretty good over from their point of view, getting a few runs and starting to build the partnership. Raj says India-Bangladesh is also a blooming rivalry. You might not see much out there in the south, but it is far more exciting and gaining momentum in the last decade. Yes, to say, Raj, it is also a bit deeper than just cricket. So it's going to be Naveed, the spinner. He's going to bowl his 3rd over. He's got 1 for 18 from his 2. He's going to be bowling to Wells. He's on 3 and Finch is on 6. The non-strikers in. Wells on strike. Naveed bowls. This one short. Wells works it onto the leg side, down to mid-on for a single. Quick single there, looking to rotate strike, looking to keep the scoreboard ticking as you do in a T20 match. So got to try and limit the dot balls. So Naveed in again to Finch. He bowls this one full outside off stump, and Finch chops down on this through the offside to the fielder at deep cover for a single. He moves on to 7. Naveed bowls. This one short outside off stump, and Wells cuts this to the fielder at deep point for 1. So the Renegades starting to rebuild a partnership, starting to get the scoreboard ticking, because that's what's required. That's all right, Raj. That's all right. No worries. Good to hear what you have to say on the game. Naveed bowls to Finch. This one short, outside off stump, and Finch pulls this to mid-wicket for a single. So the Renegades have been dealing with singles in this over on this over to Naveen. 2 balls left of the 12th. 3 for 62. What can the Renegades get to? They need a competitive score here. Naveed bowls to Wells. This one short, outside off stump. And Wells cuts this nicely to the deep backward point boundary for 4 runs. Nice shot from Wells. Good use of the crease. He was able to get into good position there. He was short, wide outside off stump. He was able to cut down on that, beat the fielder through that deep backward point region for 4 runs. Naveed bowls to Wells. This one short outside off stump again. Wells rocks back and pulls it onto the leg side for a single. See, in the over, it's 3 for 67 after 12. 3 for 67 after 12 for the Renegades. This partnership's starting to get some momentum back for the Melbourne Renegades. I know we'll need a lot more runs. 3 for 67. They probably need something over probably 180. It's a pretty good surface here in Geelong. And the Renegades just need to keep building partnerships and not losing wickets at the wrong time. So it's going to be Jackson Bird to bowl his last over. 1 for 17 from his 3. He's been pretty good. He bowls to Wells. This one short of a length, and Wells hits it straight back to Bird for a dot ball. And Renegades going at 5.5 and over for the run rate, which is not where they want the run rate to be. They would like that a little bit higher. But it just indicates how well the Sydney Sixers bowlers have bowled on this surface. They've really bowled tight lines and they've bowled pretty well. Bird in bowls this one full, and Wells hits it straight back down the ground to mid-off for a dot ball. Well, 3 for 67, the Renegades. Their projected scores 109 at this current run rate. That's not going to be enough. 6 and over 113, 8 and over 128. So they need more than that as Bird bowls to Wells. This one short of a length. Wells able to work it through mid-wicket. Square leg, I should say, sorry. For a single. So that's the first run in the serve. A build up of pressure. It's good from Wells just to be proactive, get off strike. You can't let the scoreboard stagnate. And you can't have too many dot balls in a T20 match. You're always going to keep scoring off every ball. 120 balls, plus any extras that the bowling side may bowl with wides and no balls. You've got to pounce on them. Nice crowd in Geelong. Nice and sunny too, enjoying the cricket. Bird bowls to Finch. This one short of length, and Finch was able to work it behind square down to Deep backward point for a single. He moves on to 9 off 10. Now the Melbourne Renegades dugout looking pretty calm, but they'll be disappointed with where they're at the moment. Bird bowls this one full toss. Outside edge from Wells, trickles out to backward point for a dot ball. Curtis Patterson, who played Test cricket for Australia, of course, a few years ago, opened the batting. As some people would remember, when Smith and Warner were out of the side, he came in, along with many other people as well, Marcus Harris, Aaron Finch, during those difficult periods for the Australian team in Test cricket, trying to fill the void left by Warner and obviously Smith when they got suspended. Last ball of the over, Bird bowls to Wells. This one full outside off stump, outside edge, and it will race away down to the third man boundary for 4. Much needed boundary for Wells and for the Renegades. It's the end of the 13th over. It's 3 for 73. Pretty good from the Renegades. Much needed boundary. Sydney Sixers have just tightened up the screws a bit. Well, we've got a double header tomorrow in the Big Bash. For New Year's Eve, we've got the Sydney Thunder and the Hobart Hurricanes for the first game. That's going to be from Albany in New South Wales. One of those regional venues in this BBL season. BBL going to regional venues. And then obviously we've got the Adelaide Strikers and the Melbourne Stars for the New Year's clash. I've been to some of those games over the years, watching the Adelaide Strikers go about their business on New Year's Eve. It's quite a good atmosphere at the Adelaide Oval. No doubt tomorrow, a lot of people celebrating the new year. We'll definitely celebrate watching the Adelaide Strikers up against the Melbourne Stars, which I'll be doing tomorrow, and should be a good game as always. So the power surge has been taken. Power surge, a couple of overs of power play. So the Melbourne Renegades with the power surge, they'll be looking to try and get as many runs as they can in this power surge. 2 overs of power play, so it's like the normal power play. The Big Bash does it a little bit differently. Obviously, 4 overs of power play, and you've got 2 overs you can use up until the 20th over. So they've taken it now, the Melbourne Renegades, which is a good move. I think it's good. Often brings about wickets. Got to be careful about that you don't overdo it in the power surge. We often see that many sides lose wickets as Jordan bowls to Finch, traps him on the pad, and an appeal for LBW, nearly a run out. Jordan hits the stumps. There was an appeal for LBW, an appeal for run out. Either way, he could be out either way here, Aaron Finch, but I don't think he is. I think he's safe. And he is safe. So a full delivery there from Jordan. And a full delivery there from Jordan. Trapped Aaron Finch on the pad, on the toe. It's a good Yorker, good delivery. And then Aaron Finch was out of his ground. And we see that so many times with batters. After you get wrapped on the pads for LBW, you go down the pitch, and you're not even in your ground. You could be run out. He was nearly run out there, Aaron Finch, but luckily he made it home. Jordan bowls to Finch. This one full outside off stump. Finch drives straight to the fielder at deep cover. Picks up a single. He moves on to 10, but it wasn't convincing from Aaron Finch. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Well, we try our best, of course. It's very hard to commentate the game and read the chat, but this is not a busy night, so it's quite easier. That one at LBW was outside leg, pitched outside leg. So good decision by the umpire in the end there. Jordan bowls to Wells. This one full, and Wells able to work it down the ground to mid-on for a single. Raj says, well, I'm not well-versed in BBL, so that causes a big distraction. Thought about talking New Zealand-Pakistan series, but that is even more insignificant and boring to me than BBL at this point. John says, so much cricket, Raj. You have to be picky about what you watch, otherwise you'll never leave the TV. Yes, there is so much cricket on. Chris Jordan in again to Finch. This one full outside off stump, and Finch pulls this over the deep mid-wicket boundary for 6. That's a good shot from Aaron Finch. He picked up the line, he picked up the length well. He was able to pounce on it. And it's 6 runs in the end. A much-needed 6 for the Renegades. He got deep back into the crease. He was able to clear the rope over deep mid-wicket for 6. Aaron Finch, he's done okay in this BBL. Aaron Finch, and it's been a bit patchy at times, a bit scratchy, looking for form. But no doubt he's doing okay. Chris Jordan again to Finch. He's on 16. He bowls this one full outside off stump, and Finch drives through the covers to deep cover for a single. Hit that nicely. Moves on to 17. Good. Hit the 6. You pick up a few singles. Already 7, 8, 9 off the over with a dot ball, 1 left of the 14. Raj says the video with Gabe about international scheduling was good. Well, thank you, Raj. Yes. Unfortunately, none of the solution seem applicable at this time, but I hope we find one soon. It's always a constant problem, international schedule, as Jordan bowls to Wells. And Wells tried to scoop it, but in the end, he got a bit of an outside edge, and it went out to backward point. He was trying to lap that or scoop that over the keeper's head. Went out to backward point instead, got the outside edge. It's the end of the over. It's 3 for 82. They picked up a single at the end of that ball. 1 over left of the power surge. And already a good start for the Renegades in the power surge. Good over for the Renegades. Aaron Finch was able to hit a 6 and maximize his power surge. But for the Renegades, so need a lot more runs in the next over of this power surge to really make the most of it. If they can't, well, the Sydney Sixers will be pleased with how things have gone. That 6 there from Aaron Finch was 74 metres, and that was pretty long hit. Kerr to Finch, bowls this one full, and Finch hits it straight to the fielder at square leg. That's the end of Aaron Finch. Well, he's gone for 17. He hit it straight to the fielder at square leg, and he's gone for 17. Picked out the fielder. The Renegades have lost their 4th. They're 4 for 82. Well, he was just getting going as well, Aaron Finch, and yeah, just didn't time that well, just didn't hit it well. Picked out the fielder at deep, that square leg there. He'll be disappointed with that, Aaron Finch. Shaking his head as he walks off. Disappointed with how that innings has gone for him. He's gone for 17. It's 4 for 82 for the Renegades to keep losing wickets at the wrong time, slowing the momentum down. And Will Sutherland comes out to the middle. And he'll be on strike. And the Renegades, a few batters have got starts, but they haven't converted them. 12, 0, 35, 17, 16. 4 for 82, 15 overs, nearly done. Second over of the power surge. It hasn't been good. They really need to up the ante here. Will Sutherland on strike. And he'll be on strike, and let's see what he can do. Raj says, I'm going to have to return back to work, but we'll keep lurking in the background. Bye for now. No worries, Raj. Thanks for dropping by. So it's going to be Hayden Kerr to continue. He's going to bowl to Sutherland. He bowls this one full on the pads of Sutherland. He works it down to long on for a single. And he's off the mark. Wells on strike. He's 16 off 17. What can the Renegades get up to? They need a competitive score around about 150 or something like that. Need to get to that sort of score. 4 for 83 is not bad. Wells on 16. Sutherland off the mark on the previous delivery. So Renegades really need to go now. Kerr to Wells. This one full. Wells works it down to mid-on for a quick single. Quick between the wickets there, John Wells, and he races to 17. John says, hate to admit it, but I nodded off in front of the TV for the final session of the Australia-South Africa test. It was a busy Christmas and I was tired. I had to watch a highlight package. We tend to do that from time to time, John. It's okay. Watch the highlights, and as Kerr bowls to Sutherland, this one full, and Sutherland works it down to long on for a single. Yeah, South Africa just capitulated. It happened pretty quickly. Once you get the top order out and the middle order out, get into the tail enders, it's not going to last long, and that's what happened. And for Australia, it was good that they wrapped up the test match in 2 sessions on day 4. It would have been nice to come back on day 5 and try and get a couple of wickets or so, or something like that. But it's good that Australia finished off the job, and South Africa, they've been poor in this series. Their batting hasn't been up to scratch. Their bowling in this test match wasn't good either. Kerr bowls to Wells. This one a full toss, outside off stump, and it's called a wide by the umpire. And that's a wide there for Hayden Kerr. So an extra run, extra delivery. He has the bowl. 2 balls left of the 15th. But yes, it was a pretty good test match for Australia. I think Australia will be delighted with how they played in that test match. Dominated pretty much from ball run, really. Winning the toss and bowling South Africa out cheaply was pretty good. Kerr bowls to Wells. This one full. Wells was able to get it onto the onside for a single. And he moves on to 18. So last ball, Sutherland will be on strike. He's on 2. Bowled pretty well, the Sydney Sixers. They've done pretty well. They've bowled well. They'll be delighted with their performance tonight. Started a bit slow in this BBL, but they're just starting to get things together, just starting to get motoring. So it's going to be Kerr, last ball to Sutherland. He bowls this one a full toss, and Sutherland gets an outside edge straight to short third man for a single. It's the end of the over. It's 4 for 88. We've got 5 overs left. 4 for 88. 15 overs are done. The power surge is done. Speaking of Australia and South Africa, as we discussed a bit earlier, Australia have announced their squad for the last test match. Pretty much the same as it was throughout this whole series, except for Stark and Green being replaced by Ashton Agar and Matt Renshaw. Good to see him back in the test fold. Been doing well on the Sheffield Shield, gets his opportunity. So it'll be interesting to see how Australia go, whether they pick Ashton Agar, 2 spinners, or they just go with Renshaw extra batter. Be interesting to see if Lance Morris gets a debut as Naveed bowls to Sutherland, who works it down to long on for a single. Raj says, I had to wake up at 4:30 a.m. every day for the last 2 Border Gavaskar trophies. I nodded off a lot those days. Yes, early hours, that's for sure. Naveed bowls to Wells. This one short outside off stump. And cut away by Wells to deep point for a single. John says, great performance for Stark to bowl in the second innings. Yes, it was. I thought he bowled really well, despite the injured finger. Naveed bowls to Sutherland. This one, a play and a miss by Sutherland. Past his outside edge for a dot ball. Haley got a wicket there. That was pretty good. It was also pretty good from Cameron Green to bat through a broken finger as well. It's never easy doing that. But But good to see Starkey and Greeny do their bit for the team as Naveed bowls to Sutherland, and Sutherland gets it away for a single onto the offside. It was also good to see Cameron Green support Alex Carey to his century, which was a good thing to see there. Dot ball there from Naveen to Wales. One ball left to the 16th. John says, the days of two spinners in Sydney are long gone. Who keeps suggesting this? I think many people do, John. You know, we always talk about it. This one short and wide outside off stump by Naveed. Wells works it to the deep, onto the offside, to the fielder in the deep for a single. It's the end of the over, 4 for 92 after 16. We always suggested, and a lot of people have been talking about it because the SCG wicket square is a lot drier this time around. You used to play two spinners in Sydney back in the day with Shane Warne and obviously Tim May or, Stuart McGill. But, you don't really need two spinners, I don't think. Australia don't need two spinners. You can have Marnus and Travis Head bowl with Nathan Lyon. That's plenty. But they always talk about it every time we go to Sydney. So be interesting to see what they do. Either they pick Ashton Agar to be that all-rounder, replace Cameron Green like for like, or they go with Matt Renshaw and say, you know what, we need extra batting. Renshaw can bat at 6. Maybe we don't want Alex Carey to bat at 6. We want him to bat at 7. Maybe it's a little bit too high for Carey in the order. As Dorshus bowls to Wells. This one short down the leg side. Wells pulls this to deep backward square leg for at least a couple of runs. And he'll come back for 2. So they may go with that. It'd be interesting to see what they do with selection. But yeah, that we always talk about it. And I always think, well, you just don't need two spinners in Sydney these days. So it will be interesting. Now, it'll be also interesting to see who replaces Mitchell Starc, although it's going to be Hazelwood or Lance Morris. If Hazelwood's fit, I think I'll go with Hazelwood. Dorshus bowls to Wells. This one full outside off stump. Wells drives it straight to the fielder at mid-off for a single. But the Australian selectors, it's up to them. Up to them. And they are making the decisions at the end of the day. We can only talk about it and speculate what's going to happen. But they may see it differently. Depends on the pitch. If it's dry, maybe you do play two spinners. Maybe, maybe not. Or do you want extra batting? Or do you want, Carey to bat at 6? I think that's going to be the thing. Dorshus bowls to Wells. He works this onto the leg side for a single down to mid-wicket for 1. Four for 96 for the Renegades. We've got 3 overs after this. It hasn't quite gone to plan for them again. It doesn't look like they're going to post a competitive total here. The average winning score here in Geelong is around about 157. So they need probably that to be competitive. Dorshus bowls to Wells. This one outside off stump. Wells was able to get bat on ball on this, and he was able to work it onto the offside to the fielder in the deep for 1. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Good to see everyone here. Thanks for joining us. A bit of BBL action. And Melbourne Renegades in a spot of bother as Dorshus bowls to Sutherland. This one wide of the off stump, and the umpire signals a wide. The batter wasn't able to reach that with a normal cricketing shot. So Dorshus has to bowl 2 more deliveries, an extra delivery. It's not what you want to do as a bowler. You want to bowl 6 balls, and that's it. As Dorshus bowls to Sutherland, this one down the leg side. Sutherland hits it straight to the fielder at deep mid-wicket. Jordan Silk's a pretty good fielder. He never drops those. That is the end of Sutherland. He's gone for 6. And for the Renegades, they lose their 5th wicket for 98 runs. One ball left to the 17th, and it's not looking good for the Renegades at the moment. John says extra batting if South Africa's bowling gets the radar working. Might need it. Very generous to compare Agar and Green as like for like. Well, they would like someone to bat and ball like Cameron Green, John. Obviously, Agar and Green are very different players, of course, but if they want someone like an all-rounder, probably you would say Agar's more of a bowling all-rounder than a batting all-rounder compared to Cameron Green. So that's the thing. Whether you choose Agar and he bats at 7 and you have Kerry at 6, or do you have Matt Renshaw at 6, don't play two spinners and you have Kerry bat at 7? That's the thing that Australia need to work out. South Africa, I don't know what changes they'll make to their team. I haven't really thought about that. I am planning to release the review of the second test very shortly, in a couple of days. And then we'll talk about that in more further detail. I don't know what South Africa would do for the last test in terms of changes. I think they don't have anyone who can come in and do the job, as Dorsius bowls to Hanscom, the new batter, and a bit of a misfield down there at third man, and Hanscom glided that nicely down to third man. Misfield there from Jackson Bird, and it runs away for 4 runs. So end of the over, it's 5 for 102 after 17. So it'll be interesting to see how Australia approach their selections for Stark and Green. And it'll be also interesting to see what South Africa do, because in this test match, this test series, their batting has been poor. Their bowling in this test match in Melbourne was terrible. I thought Anrik Nortje was the standout. He bowled pretty quick. He got wickets and he looked threatening. Whereas Rabada, Ngidi, Maharaj, the spinner, Janssen was good to Smith in terms of that battle. But apart from that, they just looked a little bit flat and not as potent as they are, because they're all very good bowlers, and it is a very good bowling attack. But if you don't have any runs on the board, it's not going to be effective. We saw that, and the pitch in Melbourne, it was a good surface. Australia got 600 runs just about on the surface. It's not a 189 or 200 all-out surface. It's just South Africa were given the opportunity to bat big, from Pat Cummins winning the toss and bowling first. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make the most of it. And that's the disappointing thing for them, is that their batters are probably not up to the level that is required at Test cricket, especially at Test level. As Chris Jordan bowls to Wells, this one a Yorker, nicely dug out by Wells for a dot ball. Yes, to say, John, keep Kerry at 7. He's working fine there. They was always talking about batting Gilly at 6 and having an extra bowler. Never happened. No. I think number 6 is a little bit too high for Kerry. I think you want your keeper at 7. So that's the thing. Do you want Ashton Agar to bat at 6? Is he capable of batting at number 6? So I'm pretty sure he bats at number 7 or 8 in Shield cricket. I'm pretty sure Ashton Agar. From his Test debut, I remember Ashton Agar batting at number 11. So where he made 90 odd and batted really well with Philip Hughes in that 10th wicket partnership at Nottingham back in 2013. So be interesting to see what they do there with Agar. But Kerry, he batted well-deserved century, I thought. He looked pretty good. And good to see him finally get the monkey off the back and get the first century. I know he's had a lot of his detractors and a lot of critics, of course. But being a bit biased, it's good to see him and Travis Head doing well. And good to see a couple of South Australians doing well. And I was very happy when he brought up the 3 figures. They batted really well. So I think, as you said, John, keep him at 7 and think about playing either Matt Renshaw at 6, or you risk it and you play Agar at 6. So it'll be interesting to see what Australia do. A lot of selection headaches, but I suppose it's a good thing, I suppose. You always have other players who can come in and fill in the spots for Stark and Green. It's Jordan bowls to Wells, and this one's worked on the offside for a single. 2 balls left to the 18th. The Renegades looking like not getting to a competitive total. 5 for 105. It's not looking good. So here we go. Jordan in to Hanscom. Bowls this one a full toss outside off stump, and Hanscom was able to work it down to mid-on for a single. He moves on to 5. You got 1 ball left to the 18th. Renegades not looking good here for a competitive total. It's been good bowling from the Sixers. It's been pretty ordinary batting from the Renegades, you have to say. Probably not their best batting performance. But they are a team in rebuilding phase. They've done better than they did in the last BBL. They've won a lot more games. So that's a good sign in the right direction. Jordan bowls to Wells. This one traps him on the pads. An appeal for LBW. The ball trickles out to the offside. They scamper through for a single. Could be a leg bye if he didn't get a bat on that. Don't think he did. Thinking about a review, the Sixers, but they turned down that. So it's the end of the over. It's 5 for 107. 2 overs left. 2 overs left. 5 for 107. It was a single. So Hanscom did get a bit of bat on that. Inside edge on the pad. They scampered through for a single. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Some BBL action. The Renegades and the Sixers from Kardina Park, which is in Geelong, in Victoria, for those who don't know where Kardina Park is. If you saw the T20 World Cup a couple of months ago, the qualifiers were played here at this ground. So Kerr bowls to Wells. He tried to lap this over the keeper's head. Got outside off stump. There was an appeal for caught behind. I think the Sixers have gone up. They have gone up for the review. Maybe got a bit of bat, a glove on it. And usually when you play a lap or a ramp shot, you can often get a bit of bat or glove if you don't quite hit it right. Josh Phillippe was convinced. He went up straight away. Well, you got 1 review. You might as well use it. Towards the back end of the innings, the Renegades are 507, so if you can get a wicket here, that'll definitely help the cause for the Sixers. Let's have a look on DRS. It's a fair delivery. Well behind the popping crease. There, Kerr. He moved across outside off stump there, Wells. Try to lap it down to fine leg as you do. The ball is close to the bat, close to the glove. Is there a bit of a tickle? Yeah. RTS will reveal that. Let's have a look on Snicker. Oh, yes, there is a spike. Now then, the question is it where the ball meets the bat and the gloves? I think it is. And I think he's gone here, Wells. He got a bit of glove, bit of bat on this. Yeah, there's a spike on Snicker as the ball passes the bat and the glove. Just having a look a couple of more times, the third umpire, but pretty sure that's out. And I think he's going to be on his way, John O'Wells. I think he's going to be walking back to the pavilion. He'll be disappointed with that. Let's have a look. Just still having a look at it again. I think he got some contact there. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah. It is close. There is a spike. Got to have conclusive evidence. That's the key thing to look out for here. Conclusive evidence. The on-field umpire gave it not out, so the third umpire needs conclusive evidence to overturn this decision. There is a spike on Snicker. It's definitely a spike. The ball was definitely close to the bat and the glove. So I believe he's going to be on his way. Yep, he's out. He's gone. And that is the end of Jono Wells. He's gone. He's out. And the Sixers pick up the 6th wicket. Jono Wells, he's got to go for 28. It's 6 for 107. Oh, good delivery from Kerr. First ball of his last over, and it's a pretty good start from him to get that wicket. Trying to go for the lap and the ramp. Didn't quite work out. Didn't quite execute it. Jono Wells, he's got to go. The Renegades, their batting just hasn't fired tonight, which is the disappointing factor for them. Wells, as I mentioned before, going for 28. It's 6 for 107 for the Renegades. Got 1 over after this. We've still got 5 balls. The 19th over. It's going to be Akil Hussain, the overseas player from the West Indies. He's pretty experienced in the T20 format. He's played 95 matches all up. So he'll be the new batter on strike to Kerr. Kerr bowls this one full on the pads. And Hussain was able to get bat on that and work it down to mid-on for a couple of runs. He'll pick up a couple. Mid-on was a bit deep there. So they were able to come back for the second. Good running there. And a couple of runs here for Hussain. He's off the mark. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Bit of BBL action. We're going to be here for the first innings. So we've got a few balls left and an over left before we end today's watch along. As Kerr bowls to Hussain, this one full and driven straight back down the ground by Hussain for a couple of runs. Long off will do the fielding and cut it off. So we've got 3 balls left in the 19th over. The Renegades are 6 for 111. So not really getting to a competitive total, unfortunately, for the Melbourne Renegades. It's been pretty good bowling from the Sixers as Kerr bowls to Hussain. This one full on the pads. And Hussain was able to get a bit of bat on that. Straight back down the ground to long on for a couple of runs, potentially. Yep, they'll come back for 2. So it's been a pretty good over from Kerr. It hasn't really been an expensive over. Got the wicket of Wells caught behind off the bat and the glove. Kerr bowls to Hussain. Hussain hits it straight back down the ground. Long off will cut it off for a couple of runs again. It's been pretty good from Hayden Kerr. 8 runs off the over and a wicket. 1 ball left to the 19th. Hussain on 8. Hanscom on 5. Here we go. Last ball of Kerr's over. He bowls to Hussain. This one full again, and Hussain works it down the ground for a couple of runs again down to long on. He'll pick up 2 more to end the over. It's the end of the over. 6 for 117. After 19 overs, the Renegades in a spot of bother here in Geelong. And it's not going to plan for them. It's going to plan for the Sydney Sixers. Well in control in this match. And you would think they will chase down these runs with no problem. And not really a pass score for the Renegades here. Pretty average. Chris Jordan, the England international, will bowl the last over of the innings. And we've got 1 more over of this watch along and live stream. And thanks for joining us, and thanks everyone for joining us and joining us for this stream, and that's been much appreciated. So 1 over left. Renegades 6 for 117. What can they get to? Can they get to 130? That will give them something to bowl at. At the moment, 6 for 117. Not really a score that they would like. But for the Sydney Sixers, a pretty good unit, pretty good bowling unit, world class. I'll be very pleased with how proceedings have gone here in Geelong. Chris Jordan. Here we go. He's going to bowl to Peter Hanscom. He bowls. This one a full toss, and Hanscom hits it straight back down the ground, high in the air, and taken by the fielder at mid-off. It's Merzes-Enriques, the captain, takes the catch. Hanscom trying to go for the big shot, build up a pressure. He's gone. Renegades have lost their 7th wicket of this innings. Peter Hanscom gone for 5. It's 7 for 117. I was trying to go up and over there, Peter Hanscom, and didn't quite hit it well on the bat. Didn't time it. Straight up in the air. Straight to Merzes-Enriques at mid-off. Simple catch. Took it easily. It's been a good performance by the Sydney Sixers. Hanscom gone for 5. 7 for 117. The Renegades struggling to probably even get past 120. With 3 wickets left and 5 balls remaining. They're probably going to get bowled out in this last over. Tom Rogers, the bowler, fast bowler. Used to play for the Hobart Hurricanes, now moved across to the Renegades this season. Been doing well. Not noted for his batting, of course. He's noted for his bowling skills, but he will need some handy runs with Hussain here. Try and get the Renegades to something they can bowl to. Here we go. Chris Jordan bowls to Rogers, the new batter on strike. He bowls, and Rogers gets it past the fielder at short, fine leg for a boundary. He walked across to off stump. He saw that fine leg was up inside the circle. He was able to get it past him. Nearly a catching opportunity there for the fielder at short, fine leg. But Rogers got it wide of him well enough to get it to the fine leg boundary for 4. Good improvisation, good batting there from Rogers, knowing where the field is and being able to manipulate the ball. He was able to do that. Much needed boundary for the Renegades, 121. They need to get to 130, I think, gives them something. Probably won't be a match-winning score, but something to bowl to in the next innings. Jordan gets ready to bowl. The 3rd ball of this last over. He bowls to Rogers, who bunts this back down the ground to mid-off for a single. And that will bring Akil Hussain on strike. He's on 10. He's 10 off 5, Hussain. Rogers 5 off 2. And the Renegades need to get to that score of 130 if they can. Something. Gives them something to bowl to. And that's what they need to do here. Just to get a few more boundaries if they can. Here we go. Jordan to Hussain. 4th ball of the last over. He bowls. Jordan, this one full. Hussain was able to work it through mid-wicket for a single only. 123 now for 7 for the Renegades. Rogers on 5, Hussain on 11. It's been a pretty good last over from Jordan. It hasn't really been expensive. He went for the boundary, of course, off Rogers, but he's pretty good at the death overs. As we know over the years, playing for England and various other T20 leagues around the world, he's done pretty well. So we go Jordan to Rogers. He bowls. This one short of a length and defended by Rogers. He hit it straight back to Chris Jordan for a dot ball. It's been a good over, only 6 runs off it and a wicket and a dot. 1 ball remains of the over and of the innings. The Renegades, they won't be happy with this score. They'll be very disappointed with how they batted tonight. It's just been a below par performance. They'll be disappointed. They'll be hoping for bigger and better things with the bat tonight, but that hasn't been the case. So here we go. Last ball, the 20th over from Jordan. He'll be bowling to Chris Rogers. Sorry, not Chris Rogers, Tom Rogers. Bowls. This one full. Rogers gets an inside edge. It works its way The ball works its way behind square on the leg side, down to fine leg for a single to end the innings. So for the Renegades, 7 for 124 from their 20 overs. I think the Sydney Sixers will be pleased with that bowling performance. I think 125 is not going to be enough to defend, but you never know. T20 cricket's a weird thing. So at the end of the innings, Melbourne Renegades are 7 for 124, and the Sydney Sixers need 125 runs to win from 120 balls. You would think they would do that quite easily. John says, just noticed you're creeping up on that 600. Yes, we are, John. We're not far away. We're on 555, so we're 50 or so subscribers away from that. So it's been good that we can get to that 600 mark, hopefully, eventually. But no, it's growing pretty quickly, and that's good signs. And yeah, hopefully we can get to that 600 mark in due course. But it's been pretty good to get the subscribers that we've been getting. So I really appreciate it. All right, everyone. Just recapping what's happened here. The Melbourne Renegades, 7 for 124 from their 20 overs. So 125 for the Sydney Sixers to get. The Melbourne Renegades didn't quite get going in their innings today. That was reflective of the score and how they batted. The top scorer was Jonathan Wells, 28. Sean Marsh was the top scorer, for 35. And everyone else really struggled. Everyone got starts but couldn't really convert them. The Sydney Sixers, pretty good bowling units. 2 wickets for Kerr and Jordan, a wicket each for Naveen, Bird and Dorcas, and they'll be very pleased with how they bowled in this match, the Sydney Sixers. So there we go. All righty then. Thanks everyone for joining us. We were only going to do the first innings of today's BBL match between the Renegades and the Sixers, but I really appreciate everyone joining us for the amount of time we've been on, which is much appreciated. Just a reminder, our next live stream watch along will be the third day's play. Day 3, session number 3 of the final test match between Australia and South Africa from the SCG to end the series and to end the watch-alongs for Test cricket on the podcast this summer. So it's been great. Hopefully you can join us for that in a few days' time, and it's sure to be going to be an exciting finish to the Australian Test summer. So thanks everyone for joining us. Before we go, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Also, the podcast is now available on Anchor, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. So do all those good things and check us out on all those platforms. It will be much appreciated. John says, see you for the third test. Ciao. Yes. See you, John. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you for the third test if you can join us for that live stream. And to everyone, thanks for joining us, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful evening or afternoon or morning, wherever you may be around the world. Thanks for tuning in again. We hope to see you for the next live stream watch along at the SCG, third test match of the series between Australia and South Africa, day 3, session number 3. Please do join us for that. We're going to have some great fun talking about Test cricket. We hope to see you there. Until next time, keep safe and bye for now.